Yeah, there you go. Make you feel welcome and at home
Thank you.
and loved and all of that. You can read all about his amazing international exploits in the back of your program. He's performed internationally. Some very impressive credits, particularly in France and Paris, and has taught at the Tisch School of the Arts at NYU. Anything else you would like to add or plug or?
No, I mean, you guys have, the bio, so whatever impresses you, it's an honor for me. So it is definitely a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the
Absolutely.
invitation. I'm really looking forward, to working with you guys, and this is quite an exclusive, program. So not the Chopin is not exclusive in a sense of like it's hardly ever performed like the Scriabin is, but it definitely is exclusive in a sense that it's such a gorgeous piece, and it's performed in so many different ways, that can be already exclusive in its own way, right? So I'm looking forward to this. So thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Whenever you guys want to go, whoever decides to
Well,
go first.
let's embark. So without further ado, Salvatore Zanelli will give us the famous Chopin Polonaise in A flat opus 54.
Wonderful. Will you give me the scores to follow?
France,
Mm-hmm.
and his partner really wanted to use this piece as an anthem, because it was the heroic in the revolution.
Right?
Exactly. And he did not want that.
Yeah, because he just didn't like the programmatic, aspect to be given. Yes, but also remember what kind of feelings he had, for this piece when he was writing it, and what also kind of even encouraged his partner to feel the way that she was feeling, almost like gave her that hint, so to say. Remember the times, so it's an interesting time that when he wrote this piece, we know that historically Poland was Poland, it became so-called Poland, because there was really no Poland on the European map, because it was all divided between these empires, right? And it was basically crying for freedom, for, so to say, revolution of its own. And of course, Chopin was so patriotic always, right? And he was wishing this revolution, and even probably more than the revolution, he was wishing for the victory, the glory. And so this piece was sort of an expression of that wishful thinking, of that glory. He was glorifying the free Poland, the one that really didn't exist during that time. And literally 3-4 years later, when French Revolution was happening, George Sand said, well, this is how exactly any revolution should feel, like this music, right? So she kind of felt those feelings after, several years after the piece was written, actually. It's an interesting way. And I feel like, if that inspired George Sand, that can definitely inspire all of us and our audience. And I can tell you definitely, this glorification I can hear in your music, which is beautifully done. Thank you for this. And we will just work, if you don't mind, just like, play stop, this kind of way, on some details. Because most of it is wonderful. Let's go from the very, very beginning. I would say it's very important to feel, the Polonaise right from the very beginning, the opening. The opening is a Polonaise too. It's one, pom, pom, pom. What is a Polonaise? Do you know what kind of dance it is?
Well, it's one of the national dances.
Right. Obviously, it's Polaka, Polonaise, Polish.
But it's
how is it danced? What's the character?
More like a waltz kind of feel. Not necessarily like a waltz, but it's that very moving, flowing.
Flowing. Is it jumping? Is it like an active movement? So does it have any up
even
and down kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. Well.
Hey, sorry, I'm totally putting you on the spot. But no, it does not really have any jumping movement. So what Polonaise is a very kind of processional dance where the couples, they go kind of around. It's walking pretty much. There's no jumping, no room, polka, no not even actually a waltz in reality. So it's a very processional, very elegant, very proud, very glorifying, a moment where these couples in the court, they just walk and they bow to each other. So they kind of introduce to each other in a way saying hello. This is pretty much it. It's not a dance. However, it's very important to feel the and that's the rhythm behind the true Polonaise. Of course, Chopin is not writing this piece for it to be danced. Just like Bach's, partita dances are not, for the chorus to dance. No, it's it's like an idea of the dance. It's inspired by the dance, right? The actual dance. But so this will be so pum pa pum pa da 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 da, and we will talk about the rhythm of pum pa pum as well.
Yeah.
But let's get from the very beginning. So what you want to feel is that rhythm that you right away set up. It's a 3/4 or 1. Pa da 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 pum 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 pum. Can we try that? Super much better. Right. One more thing. If you can do like much longer the E flat and like really sounding 1, 2, but definitely hear the pose. You know, hear the rest. So 1, 2, ta 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 pum pum. Yes. Wonderful. And now have this like a nice crescendo. See if you can do top, pop, pop. Let's do a couple times just slow. Yeah, it's a tough part, I know. So now I would recommend this the practicing of this part just slow, and hearing when you're practicing this as a separate thing, hear the rest, and you can even count 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2, and that way you can really fix it as one rhythmical picture. So 1, right? It's like I'm not playing the right notes, but right? So D, yes. So crescendo, and then again like yeah. So again like the 16 notes became like very very clear, and like a nice crescendo. Can we try that one more time? So much better. Now I would say go aim for the crescendos a little bit bigger too, a little bit louder, and then when you arrive down, I would not go big accelerando there. I feel like that that part. If you achieve that tremolos, by just solely crescendo, that will create this feeling of anxiety. Because let's remember that one more thing that he is portraying in this Polonaise is the war, right? The heroism. Yeah. It's not just glorify, oh my God, I love you, Poland, you're so incredible. But it's not just a beautiful Poland, it's hero the Poland, hero who wins the war. So this essentially is right. So those octaves are taken from here. So if you can achieve it by you're not doing accelerando in the octaves, are you? You are doing this like very cool crescendo. And by the way, bravo on the octaves. Is your hand still alive? Yeah. I know, right? It's crazy how difficult this piece is. But so you're not doing an accelerando. I would say don't do an accelerando here either. Do a crescendo. Yeah? Really achieve that. And then the very, very last one, when you got to the 8th note, before the octaves, right here. Yeah, no, the last one. This one, don't go super short. I know that it is more than, yeah, still have it project a little bit this way. And then you don't need to, you don't need that. I would not do it. I mean, it's a matter of this rhythm. Yeah, the B flat, yeah, so that needs to be still an 8 note. It basically continues, this thing while you have this stuff going on, right? So let's go one more time with this in mind, and then we'll move on. I know I will not be stuck on one section too long. Although I should probably have my phone so I can control the time and not go.
I'll give you a 5-minute warning.
That's great too. Yeah, should we do that?
Sure. Whatever you like.
But yeah, let me still have my phone so that I can construct in my head how far ahead we are on that. And I have not played this piece in many years, that's why I'm not attempting to play. So, okay. Let's go one more time from the very beginning, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
So with kind of these ideas. Those staccatos of the beginning, it's staccato, but again, it's not a jumpy polka staccato. And again, even here, that part, even that I would not do accelerando. Just achieve this effect by solely crescendo. Now, when you get here, this is 16th note. It's not 30-second notes. It's not that. So often, I hear this. I heard it in your playing a couple times as well, but I heard that throughout. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm the only one.
No. I'm agreeing with you. Yes, also common affectation with this.
Yeah. It's been done a lot, and it's a contradiction, to actually the dance form, pom, right? The rhythmic thing that I said at the very beginning. So if you can just just try to keep it very, very even. It also has this a little bit of the martial kind of a character to it, not heavy. Yeah. It's not a march.
Right.
It's not a peasant dance either. So it's very elegant, royal. Still keep the elegance that you have, but make it more rhythmically more kind of like correct. Again, yeah. So it's a little bit. We will try that one more time. Another thing for you to consider is so you have a very specific thing in your left hand. So I know it's not going to be like done right on the spot right away. It's not that easy, but it's something you want to practice and make sure that you have. Yeah, this. It's a nice juxtaposition, So that against it creates very cool like relief, Yeah. Can we try one more time? So much better. right? So you want to just make sure that those are really differentiated. Now, with this passage, Chopin is just sometimes such a mean guy. How do you practice this thing? With all the rhythmic, I also found, that passages like that are kind of, it's useful, it's helpful if you do the smaller portion, like smaller segment, and then you add to that segment another 4 or 3, another. So that might be a easier kind of a way to do this. Besides all the rhythms and everything, yeah. Should we do from that passage on? Yeah, we will not be. I'm not going to be torturing. However, this dum ba bum 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 bum. I know it's on one big legato, one big phrase, but you still want to. Can you give more of the weight, so it can project a little bit more of the resonance, to those chords. Let's go right from the chords. And also, the B flat, the end of the passage, I would not just totally have no pedal at all. You want to have that project. Can we do one more time? I will disregard the missing notes. It's totally cool. It's a matter of time, practice, separate hands, different rhythms and stuff. That will be there, I'm sure. But let's see how we can phrase it. So I would say try to have less. So you cannot do everything on one pedal unless every single note is just so perfectly coming out, and your name is Richter. So I think we're missing on both those moments, right? It's fine. But here, what I would do, I would slightly change up, especially at the very beginning, and let's experiment. Try if you can have more pedals towards the end, and have actually a separate pedal on that B flat so that it can give some resonance. Let's see if that works. Kind of. Let's go more. So it doesn't. It's not like this, but it's. It can give a little bit more. It doesn't have to be crazy short. It's not just kind of stop here, but more. I don't know if there's any difference, but let's see. Let's go one more time. Between this and the other one when you did the separate, that kind of work, and I feel like you heard the difference. So I think it has to do also something about the duration of that B flat, the shortness of it. Just a tiny bit longer, it might give more resonance, and then make sure that the pom ping it does not connect in one legato, right? So let's go from tom. Let's go. Here I feel like if you voice it a little bit towards the top notes, it might help you better to shape the melody. Can we try that? Yeah, that was better. So you hear the distance between, right? So do you see what I mean? You can phrase it better if you show the top notes. Can we try that? Much better. Do you hear the difference, guys? Yeah? Okay. Let's go from here. And then again, you have the 16th note. Right. And into a diminuendo. You see the difference. So let's go here. Um, Again, you have two layers, or like three layers, besides the besides that thing.
Yeah.
You have the that's a different voice.
Yeah.
So you really want to have this layering.
Right.
Whereas this is easy to hear, this thing, this did kind of get mixed, within the whole line, right? So I want to have a more strict line, the upper line, the middle line, and you have your bass line. So I would really concentrate on that. And that will be easier to be done if you don't rush. And I feel like you're rushed. And this is not the virtuosic, part where you want to impress everybody. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that part. So, and in fact, if you don't rush, you will create more of that suspension in the character and more of the grandeur that he's trying to portray, right? So I would concentrate on that. And especially when you have this, right, that part. Don't, the trills, and you don't need to rush them. With a crescendo, try to have that achieved. Let's go one more time from that part and we'll move on. I think the rusher is the left hand.
Yeah.
You're rushed because of the left hand. If you hear that's going if you hear that, that will really help you keep everything in line. Can we try one more time and we'll move on? We need to. So we will not repeat this part again, but for the time purposes, we will move on. But as a practicing tip, I would say take time in between each. Da da ram. Take time. Take time. So that you kind of stack everything in place for your line until you are able to eliminate those breaks and still keep the layers. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Yeah? So that should help. Let's hear from the passage. Same deal, right? And then let's move on. More resolution, right? Not super soft, but less. That was a little too kind. No, not as kind. That's a little too punchy. Well, we can manage both, like balance. Let's see between that and that one. Better, and I feel like that, if you combine with a little diminuendo, that'll probably do it. Okay. Something for you kind of to experiment. Let's move on. Cool. Great. Well, obviously, the technical parts, you will be working them out. But so this, you have two lines that move parallel. You want to concentrate. So the one that is moving in your right hand is great. But the one that is moving your left hand is still kind of slacking. So I would go slow and just make sure that you're dynamically also having them parallelly moving. The two middle voices, together. It's parallel moving lines, right? Let's move on. After that, you can go from the E flat, the moving parts. time, you're not going to be able to do the arpeggio. Rum, yeah, the broken chord. You want to do that.
Yeah.
So you can take more time before that and prepare it. Yeah? Can we go from those E flat again? I feel it rush. You know, in this dance there is nothing that can be rushed. Nothing. If something pulled back but not rushed. Yeah. And I feel like those smaller phrases, the legatos, you know, the smaller groupings, also contribute to the fact that he wants to hold back and there's resolutions. That means that, you know, he doesn't want to have this like quick. Yeah, so really reconsider the feeling of the pulse. You know, it's a very virtuosic piece. It's an extremely difficult, challenging technical piece, and you are doing a wonderful job. But it's as showy as it is, it's more elegant and heavy rather than this brillante. Like, hey, look at me, and long.
Yeah.
Don't show him that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a very acrobatic piece in a sense. It is, but it's not. Okay, so don't. Can we do one more time? And so, especially if you really can make sure that your middle voices go together, you will hear it better. And if you hear it better, you will not want to play it quicker.
Right.
The wanting to hear will slow you down and put you in the right tempo, you know, parameters, so to say. So have your ears really guide you in this. Don't try to just like,
Right.
I can't hear it if it's good. Oof, it's so difficult, let me pass quickly. Maybe they won't hear it either. Oof, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah. Try to build it with crescendo too. Another thing I just thought that might help you here is really if you hear the rest in the dum, ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. So each time you're getting louder, higher, but that doesn't shorten the time of the rest in between. So try to hear that rest, and that might help you stack them better on top of each other. Can we try that again? Better, no? It got a little like too slowish at the end. I feel like, you know, you got too comfortable. How about don't feel comfortable, but still. Let's try one last time. I'm sorry, I do get stuck on something sometimes, but let's try. We'll move on. Okay, overall I think that the character was, you know, better. The notes were not what Chopin probably would have heard, you know, this time. But usually you play them correct notes. So this time it was, forgive. You know, I can't remember who said, one of the great pianists said, to every technical problem there is a musical solution. And I cannot agree more. You know, if you think, okay, what do you want to do musically with it? I feel like that guiding will help you achieve it. even the technical, difficult. I mean, up to a certain level, obviously, but probably to the most level. Let's move on from the sostenuto, no? Great. Wonderful. So sostenuto, sustained, right? So again, we're talking about not rushing. And this is the first section where Chopin actually does the proper Polonaise rhythm. Pum, patatam, pum, pum. 5 minutes. Okay. See what I mean? We need to get to the octaves. But so this is the first time that dum, patatam, pum, pum, pum. So really sing it. I'm really missing this singing quality of your right hand here, and don't miss the left hand. Can we try one more time from this sostenuto, like really singing while you have it on the background? Can we take possibly like extra 5 minutes maybe? We'll see if we don't get through. We'll see. Alright, let's do let's not go like super soft on the B flat. Not. Like really lead your phrase. Yeah, can we try? Especially the very first bar. Oh, it's a D flat. There's no way it can be any dirty here, right? And like really give that D flat. Let's try again. maybe this is where Chopin like describes it as the army like going, right? It's the war part,
Yeah.
right? And like Tolstoy, the War and Peace,
Right.
there's the war part.
Yeah.
Well, this is the war part here, right? So once you have to and a bigger crescendo, right? And then harsher and not a nice. This is not a sweet,
Right.
I love you part. No, not at all. It's killing,
Yeah.
right? Be like at your meanest, you can.
Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Think of the worst things ever on earth.
Yeah.
And then go back. So,
We should wrap up in a couple
yes,
of minutes.
absolutely. And then when you have, the lyrical part, that's actually, that's where you really, really want to be as lyrical as you can.
Yeah.
So more of those contrasts
Mm.
in between the sections.
Yeah.
So rhythmic clarity, I would say. And then also kind of your decision about where you are doing an alteration in dynamics or the tempo. That will help you make it more kind of planned and thought through, like interpretation of this,
Yeah.
rather than just like one big thing. Because it's overwhelming piece.
Right.
Definitely, it's a very overwhelming piece, and I feel like you just need to take things apart, really analyze them, kind of to know where you stack them back up,
Yeah.
how you do it. But great job.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
What an undertaking. Yeah, speaking of an undertaking, oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, you guys are.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Wow, how did you get, this is so cool, like you are playing a concerto that is hardly ever played, and it's going to be performed by the university's orchestra?
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an achievement. Only that is already a huge
So
achievement.
by itself, yeah. So
Right?
And is a very adventurous person.
Yeah. incredible. Do you know a little bit about the Beautiful, both of you? Yeah, wow.
I think he wrote it when he was 24.
That's right.
So conservatory, he wrote it in a few days, like, kind of like in an outburst, and then he orchestrated it in the next few years, and then the woman that he would later marry and then divorce wrote the piano orchestra, the reduction of the orchestra part.
Right. I mean, he actually orchestrated within that same year. He premiered the next year after finishing up the concerto. He wrote it, and he composed it in 3 or 4 days, literally. Yes, at the age of 24, you're absolutely right. And Belyaev was his publisher, this rich guy who also created this Russian music composer society together with, not together, but he included Rimsky-Korsakov and Leadev as like his committee members. They were very well respected, and they were the elders, to Scriabin, and obviously anything that would be published would go through Leadev and Rimsky-Korsakov first. And you know that this concerto, oh my God, it went through a magical kind of story of how it was totally demolished by the critics and the audience, and then praised, the next time. What's crazy is that there are no proofs extinct that he did any modification, any alteration to the orchestration or the piano part. So he didn't change anything to the scores or to the piano part that got the public and the critics from hating it to loving it. So the first hater, so to say, was Rimsky-Korsakov. So when he sent him the orchestra, and this was also his very first attempt to orchestrate anything. Such a dense composition, dense orchestration. I mean, you can hear that even more when you hear the two piano version. It's sometimes it's just like, I can't get it. Who's playing and who's not, and what's going on? It's insanely difficult. Technically, it is also insanely difficult. So kudos to you. So when Rimsky-Korsakov received it, he wrote a terrible review. He wrote to him that this was terrible. This was the worst thing that he could have ever done. This was bad orchestration, everything is mixed in together. This is so unprofessional, etc. And so Scriabin got in complete depression. He received also a letter from Leadev that was, there are a lot of mistakes, a lot of typos, a lot of harmonic, mistakes. The texture is wrong, this is wrong, this is that. You need to correct this and this and this. And so he prepared these 2 letters to Leadev and to Rimsky-Korsakov. To Rimsky-Korsakov, he wrote this heart-wrenching, letter that how he feels depressed, and that basically his comments absolutely destroyed him. That he should not even bother to check his corrected version because he feels just so zero, that he's so broken that he doesn't even know if it is even possible to fix, etc. And then he wrote to Leadev, and he was also speaking to Leadev in more friendly, like tu version rather than vous. Also, again, Leadev was older still, and said that, I got this letter from Rimsky-Korsakov basically destroying me, and I told him that, I don't know what I can do, but I'm completely destroyed. I'll do my best. And he mixes up the letters in the envelopes and sends them to the wrong addressee, right? Makes them. And of course, Rimsky-Korsakov rushes to Belyaev's office, throws this envelope at his desk and says, I don't even know what to say about this. Absolutely pig, work that doesn't deserve anything. And so, and Belyaev sends a letter right away to Scriabin and says, could you be a little bit more mindful and careful with what you are doing? Anyways, I need you to fix the orchestration as soon as possible. And he kept procrastinating it because it was just so broken-hearted and uninspired. He kept procrastinating and lying to Bilal that, oh, it's almost ready, and then would write in a week saying, oh, it's almost ready. I'm already finished on the third movement, etc., etc. So this was a catastrophic thing. So then, of course, critics killed him in St. Petersburg. In Moscow, they were a little bit more, nice, less harsh. Then suddenly, when he is performing in Europe, it gets amazing reviews, and it becomes super popular. But here's the thing. So not only, as I said, there are no proofs that he changed anything anywhere, no written proofs anywhere. But the reason why people think that it was raving reviews after that is that most likely it was connected to his own performance of the concerto, because so he would talk to the conductors, and he would do something that was different than what it was written, and that way it was making it successful, because the next time that the other amazing musicians would play the work, it would get again like bad reviews. So if the pianists were playing the way that it was written, it was bound to this failure pretty much. Anytime Scriabin would play, it was getting amazing reviews. So most likely that's the thing. And Mikhail Blitnev, one of actually my favorite pianists. I mean, he is going through a lot of personal stuff right now, which is awful. It's so sad. But as a musician, I think he's incredible. Wrote a paper. I'm not sure whether it is out yet or not, and a new version of the concerto, because there is no actual recording of him playing, but the play of piano, like the piano rolls. There are some piano rolls where it shows that he changed in general his piano music at his performances. He would simplify so much more than what he wrote. This I'm not just spending the time on blah blah, because I do know, I will tell you in most honesty, I do know this piece so much less than I know the Chopin Polonaise, obviously. And I'm sure your professor here is going to be and has been so much more helpful. I will definitely contribute to whatever I can. But I am saying this to what? That I feel like it is actually one of the pieces where taking out voice here, taking out note there, altering a rhythm there or here is one of those moments that is not really considered as cheating, but more contributing. If you feel that this is going to help you project the piano better. One of the worst, comments of the reviews was that the piano was all the time, eaten by the orchestra. You can kind of hear that in the two-piano version. It's so dense. The orchestration is so dense. Yes, Scriabin was heavily influenced by Chopin at this period of time. To me, Scriabin, from becoming Chopinesque, to complete this another beast, another incredible creature, who sees these colors, the notes, and in fact, F sharp major, right? The electric blue color, that the concerto, finishes on. I mean, this is a little bit similar to Schoenberg's, metamorphosis from Brahmsian to this eternal, 12-tone beast, right? So, again, this heavy influence of Chopin. I feel like Chopin needed to take some master classes of orchestration, from Scriabin, because look at his orchestration and Chopin's concerto's orchestration, which is even Chopin's cello sonata feels like piano sonata accompanied by cello. It's not serious, but I feel like also Scriabin overdid it too, and maybe it's not as much of the not only the orchestration situation, but also the way that he the texturized, the piano part, it's just difficult to project over the orchestra. It's just difficult to play so that it would sound the way that he has it in his brilliant mind, So that's one thing that I would say, like one thing, like a huge, big thing about this concerto. I love it how, like before the masterclass, we also talked about the organic, start or the following, from Chopin to Scriabin.
Yeah.
So not only that, but also there's another organic thing about, this programming, is the Polonaise. The third movement of this concerto, this movement, is a Polonaise. And Scriabin says it's a Polonaise. So this is another contribution of him being so inspired by Chopin. And honestly, this movement, to me, is so much more Chopinesque than the first two movements of the concerto, where you can hear, the Scriabin, that to me the turn from Chopin to Scriabin, like in Mulholland Drive by David Lynch, when there's that moment where all the characters switch and everything goes like whoa, what? That what moment kind of happens from his fifth sonata. The fourth is still like, guys, this is something wrong. It's not what I think it is. And then the fifth sonata, you're like, she's not what she was. They're all different characters. So I feel like the first two movements are more of that David Lynch post Chopin moment, than this one. So being said, we want to make sure that this singing quality is more articulated. And yes, if you need to leave out something, please do. I'm sure like your professor only like obviously if he approves that deletion.
I've mentioned that.
Yes,
Actually, that they're unnecessary in much of Scriabin, particularly in the left hand. You sometimes have things that you feel like I've got to roll these chords over and over and over and screw up the rhythm because nobody's hand's big enough. And the piano rolls are a real, kind of key to that. That it's like a conceptualization on Scriabin's part doesn't necessarily borne out in execution.
Agreed.
And so it's that. I don't want to take it over, but what we've talked about as far as getting that sound goes is just sort of the outer skeleton. So obviously protecting the melody all the time, but then supporting it. The stuff in the middle is less important, but these big bass octaves will help everything project much better because it opens up the resonance of the piano.
Absolutely.
And will allow the melody to project a lot. So the most expendable stuff is, all the busyness in the middle of that so especially when there's a lot of skips, make it heavy down here and lighter in the middle, so that we have that support from the low end, and then you have a chance of coming out over the orchestra.
Absolutely, and speaking of the piano rolls, also there is a piano roll, of Scriabin's third sonata, the final movement, where you have the da 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 but when in your left in the left hand, he does like 3 groups of triplets instead of ta 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 pa 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 ta 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 ta. Like instead of the triplet and then a quadruplet. He does triplet. It's so much easier. And I remember when I played that sonata, I want to say like 25 years ago. I was sweating over those quadruplets, the 16th notes, and nobody told me that
you kill yourself over one measure. And then you find out that.
Speaking of that same measure, by the way, that same movement. You hear that da 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 dee dee da dee 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 da pa 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 dee dee. In the right before the ending of the sonata when she enters the final ta 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 ta. Right?
Exactly.
It's so interesting.
He borrows from himself, and it's from the same period of time. So.
And there's a lot actually he borrows from the first movement too in this sonata.
It's cyclical in that way,
Absolutely. The circling in general he does a lot. The second sonata and the fourth sonata have a lot in common.
Oh,
A lot. Yes. So and pa-pam, pa-pam, this figure is also pa-pam, pa-pam. This kind of a thing is very, very Scriabin. The Rachmaninoff actually said, comparing, his and Scriabin's music, they were super good friends in the orphanage, right? And one of his études tableaux actually is dedicated to Scriabin. I don't remember which one it was, but there's this entire article about their relationship and especially as a musical relationship. He said that ta-dam, pa-pam, this kind of a system, this kind of rhythmic picture is something that is seen in his music and in Scriabin's music also. But if in Rachmaninoff's music it grounds you onto the reality, in Scriabin's music it pushes you into the sky, into the elevation. So anytime I want to say you have this thing, like you just think, like if it can kind of push you, toward. I know it's very metaphorical, but also in general music is metaphorical, and especially Scriabin's music. So I feel like those are feelings that you need to feel to be able to transfer to your audience. If you know, let's go from the very beginning. Let's just do a tiny bit of playing. I know that we have about 10 minutes left, but I know you've been working on the technical aspects a lot with Geoff, so he's a wonderful help. So let's go one more time from da-ram, ba-da-ba. So even here too, again, kind of referencing the earlier said Polonaise, dum-ba-bum-bum. Don't turn it into 30-second notes. I feel like it does sometimes again come out as dim-ba-dum-bum. It's a thing that probably because of Mozart, we see the 16 note, dim-da-dum. We say, okay, we can do a little modification of the rhythm. And even before Mozart, when we were allowed then, but it's not like for centuries that we are going to be allowed to eat the same soup all the time. No. That's taken away from our menu. It's not available anymore at Scriabin's time. He writes what he wants, yes, maybe not completely what he wants, and then he changes, but there are several things that are like a rule. Okay, it's a Polonaise. Polonaise's rhythmic structure is ram, pa, pam, pa, 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 ram, pa, pa, pa. So then it's 16 notes. Can we try this? Da, ram, pa, da, pa. Can we do one more time? So it's triplet. Da, ram, pa, dam, pa. So dim. That's this. Yeah. So this. We want to hear this really together. Can we try that? Yeah. It's now you're rushing. You're rushing this. So. Right. So. Very, very strict rhythmically. Better, but it's still a little bit rushed. Don't rush. Hear the distance. Yeah, and I feel like these two measures, especially, are super important for you to establish the tempo, the character of the entire movement that you are going, because this it's just a jest. It's bunch of letters that you are gonna. You're part of the orchestra. You're part of the beautiful New York City Opera Orchestra. I said New York City Opera. They don't really exist. New York City Ballet Orchestra, let's say, right? So you need to inspire all the ballerinos there. But this, you're the boss. So very, very strict rhythmic. Yeah, very, very clear rhythmically. Even the the C sharp. C down, not too short. Don't lead it too much. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2. Yes. Yeah. And even this. I'm missing that grandeur of a Polonaise. I know you're not Salvatore. I've already switched, but we are talking still about the Polonaise. We want to have the yeah. Can we try that? Better. And this is sort of really like the third movement of the Rachmaninoff second concerto, this kind of stuff, right? I think that if you feel the accent and you feel the rest, the 8-note rest before the C sharp, that might help you not to rush. So if you hear that should help you. Can we try one last time? I'm sorry. You don't even need to play so soft. No. So there is no best actress without the best supporting actress. So this, your main actress, right? But this is the supporting actress. That she's the one who makes her look amazing. So she needs to support. Can we have a beautiful duo there? Yes, and then here, really, spread those sparkles. Can you? Your supporting actress is have coffee there backstage. Yes. Yeah. Here, same thing. So you sparkles and then back to again. So they need to have a nice teamwork. Yeah, they need to make each other, look good. But one of them is totally, well, you've got the role, so, débrouille-toi, right? Do whatever you want. Hey, manage yourself. No. She is also hired and she's paid a lot, so have her really work for it. So. Really be the magician. Don't be shy during the sparkles, and then especially when you're a soloist, you're opening. Everybody has been already amazed by you for the 2 first movements at the at the concert. They are looking forward to hearing this piano opening. Oh my God, she rocks! And you're totally gonna rock. So you need to say, here. Enjoy this beautiful Polonaise. Yeah. So now, all this interplays, between the orchestra and the piano. Really sing it. It's fortissimo. So, can we go from that piano? Yeah.
We need to wrap up soon.
Yep. Let's do it. key changes you want to kind of consider. I know, like, we cannot, not everybody can see these colors literally that Scriabin could, that were associated, you know, with certain keys, right? But we do want to create different timbres so that could help others, you know, or ourselves see those colors. So kind of reconsider those different harmonies, all those sometimes unexpected, you know, turns. This is an incredible work and beautiful journey that you have embarked on, and I am even kind of jealous of you that you are there, because I would love to take that trip. It's such a beautiful trip. One day when I, you know, have the time, I'll, you know, put on my suit and get onto that trip. It's beautiful. You're gonna enjoy it a lot. Just take it apart again, like your colleague. Take it apart and analyze it from this separate, you know, like be what do you say? A car mechanic. You know, you have this incredible Ferrari that the window doesn't go down. You just need to take that window down, like separate, like fix it up and then put it back on. Just kind of see what doesn't work section by section. Otherwise it's gonna be this incredible Ferrari, I don't know, I'm overwhelmed, it's too much. Take apart, work on parts, and then try to see if you can have that sleek whole contour of your, you know, big product. Yes? But wonderful, congratulations. Congratulations to you too. What a victory! Winning with this concerto.
Thank you so much.
Not that many orchestras would want to, you know, play that too.
Yes, but we have an adventurous band, you know, here too, an adventurous orchestra director who is also a composer, conductor, composer and violinist himself. So
Amazing.
David Fulmer. Yeah.
Because their work is going to be a lot. That orchestra has to work a lot to get ready for a concert.
It's not easy.
No.
It's definitely not an easy thing for the orchestra either, but it's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your illuminations and wisdom with us today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're just very, very grateful. Thank you all for hanging out and witnessing all of this. And
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for your invitation. I would love to invite you all back to my upcoming concerts. So I'm a specialist of early music actually. So early 18th century Spanish Iberian music, and I just published a book on Antonio Soler's keyboard sonatas, which I am on Saturday leaving for my tour to Europe, Spain, Italy, and Portugal. But I will be back on the 30th, and on the 31st I have a concert here where I will be playing some of my Soler music together with a flamenco band. So Soler wrote also Fandango that will be choreographed and will be performed there. But the entire solo Soler program I'll be performing at St. John's in the Village on April 22nd. I think it's at 7 or 7:30. So yeah, I will send it to you, the invitation.
Sure,
Like
looking
this,
forward
right?
to
So
it.
I'll be very happy to see you. It's an hour-long, beautiful program of early music, very different from Chopin and Scriabin, but incredibly beautiful. So I'll be happy to see you guys there.
Fantastic.
Thank
yeah,
you.
We look
And
forward
thank
to
you
it.
very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much again.